Tonight's story is The Adventures of Little Mouse. You see Little Mouse here? Once a mouse family lived under the floor of a playroom. There was Mother Mouse, a Father Mouse, and there was Big Sister Mouse called Mousiekin, and a baby brother mouse called Little Mouse. They had a pleasant mouse hole with 2 doors. One door opened into a toy cupboard in the playroom. The other opened into the long hall. Mother and Father Mouse ran down the long hall at night, and they searched for Mousiekin, all for crumbs, or went into the kitchen to steal the cheese. Mousiekin and Little Mouse were not allowed to run in the hall. However, Mousiekin was sometimes allowed to go into the toy cupboard. Little Mouse was too small to go anywhere. How he longed to see the world outside. What's the world like, Mousiekin, he would ask. Is it strange? Is it exciting? What smells are there in the world, Mousiekin? It's very strange out in the world, Little Mouse, said Mousiekin. The world is a lot of shelves, one on top of another. On the shelves are soft staring creatures with round eyes, and they don't blink or wink or even see anything. They don't smile or twitch their whiskers, they just sit there. They're called toys. There's a striped box, and if you open that box, out leaps a little stripy man. Bang! And he grins at you. He's called Jack in the Box. And there's a round red ball that will roll and bounce if there's room. And there are blocks too. You can make mouse castles with them. The world smells of dust, rubber, and books. What are books, Mousiekin? Books are all sizes and colours, Little Mouse. You turn the pages, you look at the pictures, you grow wise and clever. What does it mean to be wise, Mousiekin? It means that you know all sorts of things, Little Mouse. It means you know why cheese smells so nice and how to tie a bell around the neck of a cat. It means to know how to bake bread or sing songs or know where sugar comes from. Is it good to be wise, Mousiekin? It's the best thing in the whole world, Little Mouse. That's why I'm teaching myself to read. I can read. A is for apple. B is for bear. And I can read long words too. Little Mouse thought for a moment. Will you tell me the new words you learn, Mousiekin? Then I'll be wise too. I will be the wisest little mouse in the world. So Mousiekin would come back from the toy cupboard and tell Little Mouse the new words that she had learnt. Little Mouse learnt A is for apple, B is for bear, and he liked the long words best. What long words Little Mouse is saying now, said Father Mouse proudly. And then one day Mousiekin came back from the toy cupboard, her black eyes round and shining. Oh, Little Mouse, do you know what I saw today in the toy cupboard? I saw a picture in a book. Little Mouse, it was a picture of a huge monster. Bigger than a cat, bigger than a dog, bigger than even the rocking horse. Its name was the longest in the world. Its name, listen very carefully, Little Mouse, its name was Brontosaurus. Little Mouse twitched his whiskers. Brontosaurus, he said. That word is longer than I am. It means thunder lizard, Miss Little Mouse. This monster was so big it was called Thunder Lizard. It had a long, long neck and a teeny tiny head, and it had a great fat body and stumpy legs, and behind it was a tail as long as its neck. Was its tail longer than my tail, Mousiekin? Asked Little Mouse, who thought he had a very long tail indeed. Of course it was, you foolish little mouse. Its tail was longer than yours, longer than mine. It was longer than a piece of string. It was the tail of a monster. Little Mouse dreamed of the monster called Brontosaurus. He said his name over and over to himself. For 2 whole days he didn't think of anything else but the Brontosaurus. He thought of its long neck and its teeny tiny head, and he thought of its tail. Brontosaurus means thunder lizard, said Little Mouse to himself, and he began to think of seeing the picture of the Brontosaurus for himself. I would really like to see the picture of that Brontosaurus. Little Mouse asked to go into the toy cupboard with Mousiekin. No, 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 Little Mouse, said his mother. You're far too small. If someone opened the cupboard door, you would not know where to run, said Father Mouse. Children would catch you and put you in a cage, and when you're older, you can go with Mousiekin. But you have to wait until you're older. Little Mouse said nothing. He was making a special Little Mouse plan to go on his own when no one was looking. Next day, when parents were away and Mousiekin was asleep, Little Mouse stole out on his own. He wanted to get to the toy cupboard, but he didn't know the way. Down a dark passage he went, and his whiskers were prickling with excitement. He didn't know where he was going. It was not the passage to the toy cupboard. It was the passage to the hall. As he went, Little Mouse heard a roar of thunder. Could it be the Brontosaurus roaring somewhere? You see what it is? He listened carefully, and then he went on very slowly, and he came to the mouse hole and peeked out, and the mouse hole was behind a big black chest in the hall. No one could see Little Mouse, but Little Mouse could see everything that was going on. The first thing he saw was what he thought was Brontosaurus. Little Mouse thought it was Brontosaurus because it had a long snaky neck and a little tiny head. and a long tail and a great big body. Someone was taking the Brontosaurus for a walk. Little Mouse could see a pair of feet walking beside it and a hand on its shiny neck. Its teeny tiny head was flat on the ground, and as it went by, it roared like thunder and it sucked up the dust. "The Brontosaurus is a thunder lizard," whispered Mouse softly. The whole world shook as the Brontosaurus went by. Down at the end of the hall, a door opened and someone called out, "Will you be much longer?" "No," said the owner of the feet that were taking the Brontosaurus for a walk. "I'll just put the vacuum cleaner away." Someone picked up the Brontosaurus and unplugged its tail from the wall, and someone carried the Brontosaurus away. Little Mouse scurried back home under the mouse passage, and how surprised his parents and Mousiekin would be to hear how brave he'd been. "Mousiekin, Mousiekin, I've seen a real one. It's bigger than we ever thought, and it really roars like thunder. Not only that, Mousiekin, it eats dirt and dust for its tea. I saw it, Mousiekin, and Mousiekin had another name. It was called a vacuum cleaner." "Oh, Little Mouse, how wise you are," said Little Mousekin. "Yes," said Father Mouse, "but he shouldn't have run away like that. Tomorrow you can go to the toy cupboard with Mousekin, but you must never go to the hall again. The Brontosaurus might get you next time." Little Mouse twitched his whiskers. "Are you pleased, Little Mouse? Are you happy?" said Mousekin. Little Mouse smiled a mousy smile. "I'm so happy. I feel as if the whole world was made of cheese." He didn't find a real Brontosaurus, did he? He found a vacuum cleaner. Silly little mouse. Time for bed now. Night, night.